What's going on, Fire Pickleball? Welcome to Dink Talk Part 2. Okay, we're going to be talking about pickleball everything, okay? Kind of as an outsider, right? Someone who's trying to become on the PPA tourney and someone who's trying to, ultimately go for Ben Johns. But let's talk pickleball, you guys. We had some questions come in. Sydney from Oregon says, how have the serve rule changes changed over time? Okay, so they've changed, but they've been kind of dabbling it. Okay, as of right now, it's that kind of hip, that belly button mid-range. I know some PPA events have said, hey, we're going to bump the serve line up, so you have to hit it in a certain box. What's my take on it? I think the serve's fine the way it is. Keep it at the belly button, keep it at the hip. Just make sure they're making contact kind of at that spot. I think a big discretion in all this stuff is there's so many redos and complications and challenges on the serve, and that's got to get cleaned up. Again, like if you look at a sport like tennis, I think a lot of points are just, serve and then it's done. I think it's the opposite in pickleball, whereas, you really don't see a good rally until that third shot drop, maybe that fourth shot after the third. So, it's changing, right? People are going bigger on their serves, and that's what we expected with these Gen 3 paddles and these different types of paddles that are a little bit more poppy, almost too poppy. Next question from Emra in California. What is your take on the powerful paddles, aka the Proton Gen 3 and the Paddle Tech? Okay, so those are all, I've played with the Gearbox, I've played with the Proton, played with the Paddle Tech. They're explosive, right? So, I think the main thing is like, hey, if you hit a winner down the line, you hit a winner down the line. I think the main thing that concerns me is the put away speed. You look at some of these Gearboxes, Protons, Paddle Techs, even throw in the Gen 3 Yola. Everyone loves talking about that. The put away speed was just so fast when I would be playing with it. So, I'm looking more, maybe that should be allowed on the PPA Tour, but maybe at the rec level, with, Karen over there, you don't want to be hitting an overhead with the Gen 3 Yola with all that foam in there and it being a potential problem. So, yeah. Next question, we had Evan Enos from, where are you from? Nevada, saying 14 versus 16 milliliter for paddles. Okay, so so that's a great question, right? We have a 14 and we have a 16, right? When do you use a 16? When do you use a 14? Well, what do you want? Do you want control? Do you want to play with a 16 with more stability, or do you want power with that 14? I always say both, right? Your swing will be a little bit more, you hold it a little bit more loose on the 14. On the 16, I would say that's standard. If you're a beginner, start with the 16. If you want to experiment, and you already have a good 16, maybe experiment with the 14. I know the 14s are really popular. Another thing I'm always looking at is the weather, right? If it's windy, if it's not optimal conditions, let's just say, use a 16. It's easier. Now, if you're indoor or it's a perfect day out, go have fun with that 14. Knock your socks off. Again, I think at the baseline, the 14 may be a little bit better, but as you get to the kitchen with put away speed in firefights, that's where I would prefer the 16. Favorite face materials on paddles, Emily. Good question, Emily. Face materials on paddles, I kind of think it's a lot of the same crap. I've played with a fiberglass and liked it. I've played with 3K and liked it. I think Kevlar does a really good job putting a little bit of extra spin on it. My problems with the Kevlar is sometimes it would be a little dead or absorbing. Again, Kevlar is one of those materials where it's made out of a bulletproof, vest, so it really absorbs it, right? Whereas carbon fiber, you're looking at more like kind of race cars, kind of like strong impact, that type of stuff. Biggest difference between Kevlar and carbon fiber, I think carbon fiber offers a little bit more explosiveness off the ball. However, the trade-off is I think Kevlar, you can shape it a little bit better. And what I've noticed is when I hit it with a good Kevlar paddle, it'll dip just a little bit. Sydney, what's up? Sydney says titanium paddles. I tried out the Shogun and I kind of liked it. Titanium paddles are not bad. What I've noticed is with every paddle is the grit or the friction of the paddle will over time deteriorate. Doesn't matter what paddle you use. So I think the titanium, it doesn't offer the best, performance, but the grit will stay much longer. Cool. That's it for today, you guys.